Are you ready? It's time!
Sleeman Breweries, in association with the Western Ontario Super Hockey League, presents the Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast. Here's the host of the program, Andrew Rogers.
Yes, hello once again, everyone. Andrew Rogers here, the host of the Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast. This is episode number 26. It's great to be back with you guys once again, and it's great to see you guys all back watching and viewing the podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's like I say, great to be back at episode number 26. I'm the host, Andrew Rogers. Those are all things you know already. We got a great show lined up for you today. A couple great guests coming on here shortly. We have Nathan Torchia, starting goaltender of the Stratford Fighting Irish, and his father, former NHL goaltender with the Dallas Stars, Mike Torchia. This is unbelievable, father-son duo on the podcast. It's just fantastic time to be alive. You know what? It's an absolute honor for me to be in this position, to get to do this podcast and to get to do this interview today. Man, two of the best. And it was a really fun time chatting with them, and we'll play that for you here in a moment's time. But first, we want to get to the matter and the meat of the podcast, and that is obviously getting you caught up to speed on what's been going on. First of all, guys, you want to check out our social media pages. Here it is. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can also check out our website. That's where everything is, www.woshl.com. for everything you need to know. Also, you can find the link for streaming every game in the WOSHL Western Ontario Super Hockey League this upcoming throughout the rest of the season. I'm so nervous. We streamed all 4 games this past weekend, 2 in Elora, 1 in Stratford Fighting Irish and the Stratford Jets, and then in Stratford, Tilsonburg Thunder and the Stratford Fighting Irish on Saturday. Guys, it was an unbelievable slate of games. Really, it was. And we want to take you through the video highlights that I put together of the 4 games this past weekend. So we're going to get to that first. On the other side, I'll recap the games, and we'll get you up to speed on where everything sits right now and get you queued up for the following weekend. And then, of course, the big deal of the podcast is going to be the interview with Mike Torchia and Nathan Torchia. This is going to be unbelievable, guys. I'm so excited. Let's get it rolling, though, with the video highlights. Here we go.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Strathroy, Ontario, Canada, for this evening's WOSHL hockey game between the visiting 1-3-1 Stratford Fighting Irish and the 5-0 Strathroy Jets. There along the boards. That's Johnstone. It's into the middle. They can't get the shot away. McIntyre throws in front. Shot. Oh, they score! Face off just outside the Stratford blue line. It's won back by the Jets, and they'll play it in. Here they come. Jets again. Shot. Big save, rebound, scores! Oh, bad break for Torchia, as he couldn't find that rebound. And the Jets strike again. Even strength. It's 2-0. Here come the Irish. O'Brien into the middle. Robbins back. Brulot shot, scores! Graham Brulot of the Irish. The Irish get one back here in the first. It's Graham Brulot, the captain for the Irish Strikes. It's 2-1. One's loose in behind Torchia, but he resets it. McNeil at the line. Throws it down to the net. No shot yet. Into the middle. Back to line shot. That one just wide. Rebound, scores off the end boards. McNeil with the point shot. And that one's put home. And I believe it's going to be Greg Milner, number 17, who finished that. We'll wait for the official, though. It could have been 91. Either way, a power play goal by the Jets, and they lead it now 3-1. Here they come, the Jets. Martin can't get to his man there. And across the line, another check into the corner. Big battle there. Edwards is hit up high, center pass, they score! And just like that, a nifty outlet or a centering pass is tipped home by Colin Van Rooyen. He scores for the Jets, and that extends their lead. It's now 4-1. He goes in after it. He plays it back to the line of Casey. Shot! Off a stick! Rebound! Oh, what a save! Rebound scores! Wow, what a stop on the first one by Diamond. But Fiera makes no mistake on the rebound. And it's a 4-2 hockey game here. Wow. 2:21 to go here in the second. Andrew Rogers on the play-by-play. Western Ontario Super Hockey League action brought to you by Sleeman. To the line, kept in. Off the end boards. They have it in behind the net. Jets still controlling in the Irish end. Back to the line. Here's a shot. Deflection, rebound, scores! Jets get one right back. And they restore this 3-goal lead. And that is Mike Rowe on the goal for the Jets. Wonderful stop. We play by the Jets on this power play still, 47 to go. Played into the middle. Shot scores! McIntyre through the wickets of Torchia. He makes no mistake on the power play with O'Brien in the box. And that's going to do it for that. McIntyre here in the third. Extends the lead on the power play. It's now 6-2 for the Strathroy Jets. And Martin's going to come back, and now we're on a... Oh, centered pass, they score. Torchia gives it away, and it ends up in the back of the net just like that. And now the lead is now 7-2 for the Jets. Bookmark this one. That's the ball game. Strathroy Jets win this hockey game by a 7-2 score. Good afternoon, everyone. We are here in Stratford, Ontario, Canada for this afternoon's Western Ontario Super Hockey League contest between the Stratford Fighting Irish and the Tillsonburg Thunder. Brian, you ready to go?
I love this matchup already on the ice. We've got the number 2 scorer in the league, Jake Brown, number 21 against the number 3 scorer in the league, Sean O'Brien for Stratford, number 16. This should be a good matchup, one to watch all night.
Blot in across the line. Looking towards the middle, he's still got it. Oh, Brumet scores! Great pass by Graham Brulot. And Hayden Brumet stuffs it home to give the Irish a 1-0 lead. Great play by number 10.
Point.
Last time Tillsonburg was on the ice was 8 days ago, a 7-5 victory over the Elora Rocks. There's a shot, they score! What a shot by Andrew Bogdan. He picks the corner on the blocker side to make it 2-0 Stratford. What a shot, Brian.
Well, clearly a designed play off the face-off. He got the loose puck and waited and made the goalie move into the middle and then shot it back short side. Great play, great job, and welcome back to Andrew Bogdan.
Head had that off of his stick, and that's going to go to the line, kept in. Robbins there covering at the line. Fiera throws it across. Brulot's going to have to get there after it. Fiera's going off on a change. This puck into the middle. O'Brien shot, scores! Robbins on the deflection. Just as the power play was probably close to ending, I think it was close as he was getting ready. Knotts was getting ready to come back on the ice. But either way, Robbins with the deflection past Porter. It's 3-0 Irish on the power play goal. Unbelievable. They're going to get another chance. They have an odd man rush. This time it's O'Brien. Shoot, scores! Sean O'Brien with the goal right through the 5-hole of Tim Porter. And that makes it 4-0 for Stratford. What a shot.
Well, you see now why this fella is number 3 in the league in scoring. That's 2 goals for him now. And he's looked really, really good doing it. He plays at both ends of the rink. He's truly one of the best players in this league. Number 16, Sean O'Brien. Back
to the line. Barletta fires. What a save with the pad. You could hear that all the way back in Tillsonburg. Agreed, 100%. Face-off is won by Tillsonburg. There's a shot. That goes off a body. Martin's all discombobulated out there. Nice save, though, by Torchia. That glove hand is on fire, as mentioned. And Ratchford with the shot from the point. Torchia had to be sharp. Pucks or balls come, or the baseballs come flying into the crowd very, very quickly. So you got to have your head on a swivel. This one's across. Brown! Oh, what a save by Torchia!
And that's saying something, boy. He robbed Brown.
Brown in there again! Oh, glove save by Torchia. He's got his number. Fitzmaurice again across. It's going to be picked up by Ratchford. Ratchford puts it towards the net. Nice save by Torchia with the glove hand again. As we're at 2:07 to play here in the third. Great, great hockey game by Nathan Torchia and the Stratford Fighting Irish here at the Allman tonight.
We'll see if Stratford can kill off this last minute and preserve the donut for their goaltender.
Thank you for saying donut. That puck is deflected away by Torchia. We have 1:05 to play here in the third. Tillsonburg will end this period on a power play. This one's all the way back to Andrew Tapsel at the line. He'll play it down to be picked up there by the Thunder. Oh, no, that's in. Braden Roberts off a deflection. Oh, no, that's the kind of thing you hate to see. But Roberts puts the Thunder on the board, and there'll be no shutout here this afternoon. Nathan Torchia with an unbelievable goaltending performance here in Stratford this afternoon. And the Irish nabbed their second win of the season. They now improve to 2-4-1 on the year, while the Tillsonburg Thunder fall to 3-2.
Yeah, so there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed that little video package there. Some unbelievable highlights and some unbelievable play this past weekend. We'll start in Strathroy on Friday night. It was the Stratford Fighting Irish falling to the Strathroy Jets 7-2. An unbelievable contest, guys. Ozera was able to do the play-by-play for that. Strathroy, man, give all the credit to them. They are a fast team. They capitalize on the opportunities and they make it pay. But they are very, very sharp. Josh Diamond's rolling. He's 5-0. And 7-2 victory for Strathroy in that hockey game. Alora, they just put the screws to Alvinston a little bit over the weekend, 2 games. And so some big numbers there. But a couple wins put up in the win column. Alora now 5-1. They sit in second place in the standings. We'll get to that in a minute. But big ups to Alora and big ups to Alex Utley. We'll talk about him in a minute as well. The other contest that took place was a Halloween themed game in Stratford. Stratford Fighting Irish and Tillsonburg Thunder. Stratford, unbelievable performance by our guest on the podcast today, Nathan Torchia. He absolutely stole the show in this hockey game, and he didn't single-handedly defeat the Thunder, but boy, it was an all-around team effort. By far, Stratford's most complete game of the season so far, in a 4-1 victory over the Thunder. They improved to 2-4-1, while the Thunder go down to 3-2. But yes, those are your scores from this past weekend. Just an unbelievable slate of games. It really, really was. You know what? A lot of good hockey all the way around. We'll take you through the standings here now. We got the Strathroy Jets up on top, 6-0 to start the season through the first 6 games. They are ahead by 2 points over the Elora Rocks, who are 5-1. Tillsonburg sits in third, 3-2. They've only played 5 times, the least amount in all of the 5 teams. Stratford Fighting Irish, it's 2-4-1 through 7. They are 1 back of the Thunder. with 2 games, or with Tilsonburg with 2 games in hand there. And then you have the Alvinson Killer Bees at 0-8. We'll go to our leading scorers. It was the Alex Utley show in Elora this past weekend. He now leads all scorers amongst the Western Ontario Super Hockey League with 21 points, 11 goals, 10 assists, 11 being 3 better than Jake Brown from Tilsonburg, and then his 10 assists tied with his teammate Luke Valeshta, both with 10. They are leading the Western Ontario Super Hockey League in assists. Big ups, though, I want to point out Sean O'Brien, Ray Robbins, Graham Brulotte of the Stratford Fighting Irish, 3 players in the top 10 there. O'Brien with 13, Robbins with 11, and Graham Brulotte with 8, 2 goals, 6 assists. He's been unbelievable to go. But yes, just a quick note, guys. Nathan Torchia was absolutely stellar in this hockey game. A lot of big saves, obviously, you saw in that video pack there. He was outstanding, and just a brick wall from the very get-go, and almost had the shutout, but thanks to my color commentator Brian Hawley, he'll not admit it, but I'll grind his gears on it till the end of the day. But the face-off right before the Tilsonburg Thunder score, one of the weirdest goals you'll see, that took a crazy deflection to go in with about 48 seconds to go in the third period. Right before on the face-off, it says donut. And I pointed it out to him, and of course I was like, "Oh, I'm just happy you said donut, not the other thing," and then they score. So, anyways, I'm not pinning it on Brian, but how can you not, right? I mean, anyways, that aside, what I want to do actually is something really fun. I want to give my shout outs. I want to start a new little segment on this podcast, A-Rod shout outs. And there are a few of them that I want to recognize this week. Big ups. First, my first shout out is to the Strathroy Jets, 6-0 to start the season. My second shout out is to Josh Diamond, Strathroy Jets netminder. He is 5-0. Unbelievable start to his season, and obviously for the Jets as well. Shout out to Alex Utley for his unbelievable weekend, and obviously being the leading point scorer so far in the Western Ontario Super Hockey League. Big ups to the Elora Rocks, couple big wins. They are now in second place in the standings. Big ups to Colin Dunn as well for the Western Ontario Super Hockey League and the Elora Rocks. He nabbed the first shutout by a goaltender in this league, so big ups to him. Congratulations on that. To the Tilsonburg Thunder, I want to put a shout out to their defensive core. Now, it was unfortunate by any stretch, but their defensive core was shorthanded, and you could tell by the third period the legs were heavy, but they really stuck it out the entire way. Todd Ratchford was pretty unbelievable. His partner Eric Langridge was very decent as well, but they were taxed, no question about it. And but they played a heck of a game against Stratford on Saturday. Speaking of Stratford, want to give big ups there to Nathan Torchia. He absolutely stole the show. I wasn't sure exactly what the shot count was, but I know it was up there. But he was an absolute brick in the net, except for the one that went in by him late. But again, big ups to Nathan Torchia. He was unbelievable. So a shout out to him. And then a shout out to Stratford for the Fighting Irish as well. Not only did they put on a great Halloween theme night, theme afternoon at the Almond, but they were it was a complete team effort, that resulted in a win. So big ups to them as well. And I also want to give a shout out to the Alvinson Killer Bees. They had a goaltender that started his first game and made his Western Ontario Super Hockey League debut, Will Sharon. And also I want to give a shout out to Brandon McElvenna. He had his first goal of the season this past weekend as well. So big ups to him. I know he's pretty pumped about that. So big ups to those two guys. Alvinson, they got to turn it around, and I have no doubt that they will. One win will turn everything around and give these guys some momentum. So they just have been on the wrong side of things out of the gates here, but hopefully things will turn around for them. But yeah, those are my shout outs for the week. One more bonus shout out is to you guys for watching on the stream online, watching on Spotify, watching on the Western Ontario Super Hockey League website. and following along, and also continuing to watch the podcast and continue to subscribe. So we appreciate that a lot, guys. Thank you so much for that. Our games upcoming before we get to our guests, and we'll make sure to recap that again on the other side of this. But we got 3 games this upcoming weekend, some big games. The game of the week, I think, is the game that takes place this upcoming Friday, November the 5th. It's the Strathroy Jets 6-0 against the Elora Rocks 5-1. This one goes in Elora at 8:30, and you can find that game on Spotify. The Saturday game features the Tillsonburg Thunder at 3-2. They are in Alvinston to play the Killer Bees. They are 0-8, but any one game they could pull a win and they could go on a roll. But that one goes at 6:30 in Alvinston on Saturday. And then on Sunday, the last game of the weekend features the Stratford Fighting Irish 2-4-1 in Tillsonburg to take on the Thunder. It's the Thunder's home opener after 6 road games. They are finally going to play their home opener, and it comes this upcoming Sunday, November the 7th in Tillsonburg. That one goes at 7 o'clock. I'll be there for that one, and I'll be on the call from Tillsonburg live on Spotify. You can also find the Alvinston-Tillsonburg game on Saturday on Spotify as well. We've got streaming in all buildings. It's absolutely unbelievable, guys. It's fantastic stuff. Speaking of fantastic stuff, is our podcast guest for this edition of the Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast, father and son, former NHLer and former NHL goaltender, I should say, Mike Torchia and his son, Nathan. Nathan Torchia, who plays for the Stratford Fighting Irish. They are the guests on the podcast, and we welcome them in. All right, fellas, we are off and running. We are pleased, very honored, actually, to be joined on this podcast, episode number 26, Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast, with 2 great individuals. Down below is starting goaltender for the Stratford Fighting Irish, Nathan Torchia, who is an absolute gem on Saturday against the Tillsonburg Thunder, and his pops, former NHLer of the 94-95 Dallas Stars, Mike Torchia, and Kitchener Ranger great. Mike, Nathan, outstanding to have you guys on, and welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Always a pleasure to come on. I know we've met in the past before, so fun to get back together here.
Mike, yeah, like I said, we'll start with you. Again, we've talked before, we've met a few times, and you're just always a pleasure to speak with. I just want you to know that first and foremost. But again, it was just so cool that this kind of all came together the way it did. I know you've been out to see Nate play a few times. What's impressed you most about his first few times out there within this league and for the Irish?
Well, probably the thing is he hasn't skated a whole lot, so I'm impressed he can still move the way he does out there. So I know he took a lot of time off this summer with things up in the air, but watching him out there, I always love watching him play. He's one of those guys. He's just got such a good knack for the game, but it's fun for me to watch him play every time I get a chance to. So whenever I get a chance, you'll see me at the rink there watching.
Well, it's definitely cool that, like I say, the connection there. Obviously, watching Nate play, it's just so cool. Do you when you're watching him play, Mike? Do you see elements of your game? Like, is that something that's apparent, or does he have his own style and it's like, okay, that's working for him? No,
definitely his own style. I don't think my legs could move the way his do. Back in the day, we played a whole lot of different goaltending in our day than there is now. Definitely way more athletic and able to do things that I could never dream of doing. But no, the thing watching him, is there things I see similarities? I think mostly his passion and the way he approaches a game, and whether it's a pickup game or a game of 3-on-3, he's got that will, and he wants to win, and he wants to be there to win, and I always see that in him, and that's something I had as well, almost to a fault sometimes, but definitely a lot of parts of his game that we always talk about. We always we talked about it after the Strathroy game on Friday night. Just some things that I wasn't used to seeing him doing, and
Right.
a lot of them had to do with timing and stuff. So we chatted Friday night when he got home, and we talked about the game for a bit, and then he went out and played a gem on Saturday.
Yeah, you should have more after game conversation with him because it's working. Let's go to Nathan. Nathan, obviously, congrats on the win on Saturday. It was probably like I really honestly thought it was the most complete game that Stratford has played so far this season. Guys are off to a semi decent start, 2-4-1. Obviously, a couple more your way in the win column would have been nice at this point, but you're rolling now. You seem to have things figured out. How are things been for you in the Nets? You've contributed to those 2 wins. How are things going?
You know what? They're going good. I think we have a really young team, right? So that's something that's kind of been an adjustment for all of us, is just kind of getting to know each other and kind of figuring out where our stride is starting to take place, right? We've had a lot of signs of, really good play, and, sometimes it's turned out to not be a win, but it's something that we're slowly starting to figure out, I think. And I think in Tillsonburg, or against Tillsonburg and Stratford, it was a really good stepping stone for us just to kind of start figuring out, how we are as a team and, what we need to do to be successful. And I think against Tillsonburg, we showed a lot of good signs of that. So we just got to keep rolling in that direction.
No, as a goaltender, you kind of, I would imagine, and again, I haven't played. It's been a long time since I played any sort of competitive hockey. But when you go game to game, you obviously, the hope is to try and take each game one at a time, kind of figure out, okay, this was working for me, this wasn't working for me. Let's see what we could change going into the next one. What did you find was different from one game being the Strathroy loss to the Tillsonburg win? What did you find was the difference?
For me personally, it was a lot about just timing and slowing down the game. Like Strathroy game was really fast, and they're a fast team, right? So they're coming at you all the time. And so for us and myself, it was just about slowing down the game a lot, which is what I felt like I did a lot better at against Tillsonburg the next day, was just kind of controlling the game, like getting the whistles, whenever if we got stuck on our end or whatever, just slowing it down a bit. And that's kind of what I like to take pride in. And part of my game is just kind of slowing down the pace. Like, I like to be an athletic goalie if I can and try to move around as quick as I can. But at the end of the day, like, you got to be able to slow down the game and control it a bit. And I thought I did a lot better than I did the night before, for sure.
And what's impressed you, I guess, as well, because as a goalie, you have an interesting perspective on the game. You have an interesting perspective on the talent that's coming towards you. Obviously, you got the best seat in the house. What's impressed you most about the guys in front of you, maybe even on your own team?
You know what? Like, I really didn't know a whole lot about what I was getting into when I got asked to come play out here, right? So, that was the big thing for me, was just not really knowing what to expect. And then once we got going, I was really impressed with the speed and the skill. Like, some of these guys really haven't played for a while, right? Like, these are guys that, so it's really an adjustment for everyone. And even for myself, like, not playing for 6-7 months since my last game, and really not being on the ice for almost that same amount of time too. So, really is just, the speed and, the skill of a lot of these guys. Like, there's a lot of good players out here still, and people don't realize, like, it's still really good hockey. And that's definitely the one thing that really caught me off guard was, especially my first practice and first game was, how good a lot of these guys still are. And these are guys that I used to play against when I was way younger, and guys that are older than me, most of them, but guys I would play against in junior and stuff. So it's definitely an adjustment. And, seeing the speed and the skill, it's something that really surprised me.
Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, again, you get a nice vantage point being in between the pipes, and I get a good vantage point up in the broadcast booth. So it's a cool spot. Mike, again, let's go back to you for a second here. Just watching the game against Strathroy that you were in attendance for, like, obviously the game has changed a lot since you were last in the thick of things. What has been the biggest change that you've noticed?
Oh, the speed of the game. The speed of the game is it's 10 times faster, and I hate to say it, but the inability for guys to hold up guys, that's a penalty now. It's funny. I would show Nathan and my younger son Andrew. I'd show him tapes. I have tapes of my old games, and they're like, "That's hooking. That's hooking." I go, "No, that's how we held guys up in our day." It was just, you have to protect your D-man. You have to protect your partner. You got to hold up for him. Basically, we played about 60 minutes of running interference for guys so they could get around the ice. And the speed of the game is totally different now. It's so fast. And it happens way quicker than it ever happened in our day. But a lot of that has to do with the equipment, how much better the equipment is for these guys. The skates, the sticks, everything they're using. Technology's really helped the game immensely. But the game's progressed where, as much as technology's progressed, so have the players.
Right. And yeah, like obviously, again, it has been a while since you obviously were in the thick of things. You were a breakout star goaltender for the Kitchener Rangers in the early '90s, and then obviously progressed through to the NHL, where you played in a few games with the Dallas Stars. Take us through that, because I don't talk to a lot of people that have played in the NHL. Mike, I'll admit it, and I'm always curious about that whole situation and how cool that is of an experience to have to go through. What was that like for you?
My first game was kind of a blur, but it happened so fast.
Sure.
Wednesday, I was playing in the old IHL, and we were playing against the Chicago Wolves in Chicago. And Sunday, I was playing in the United Center, playing against the Blackhawks in Chicago. Wow. So it happened really that fast. Wednesday night, I was playing in the old IHL, and Thursday we were out getting ready for a game, had pregame skate and getting ready, going out for lunch with the boys, and get a phone call. I guess the goalie who was in the nets the night before in Dallas, excuse me, broke his hand.
Okay.
He broke his hand in an incident in the game, and all of a sudden there was a need for a call-up. Get called up, and Andy Moog, who was the number one goalie at the time.
Beauty. Yeah, I was wondering. That was going to be my next question.
He was unbelievable. Just a true gentleman, but a true specimen. But that's a whole other story. But he was he goes out and practices and pulls his hamstring. So all of a sudden, now both goalies from the IHL were both up. Wow. So my goalie partner at the time in the IHL was Manny Fernandez.
Oh, of course. Yeah, Minnesota Wild. I remember.
Yeah. So Manny Fernandez was my partner. So he got called up. He played Saturday night in Detroit, or Saturday afternoon in Detroit. And then I played Sunday afternoon in Chicago.
Amazing.
And that's about how quick it happened.
Crazy.
5 days before, we were both playing in Chicago in the IHL, and 5 days later, we're in Detroit and Chicago playing against the Blackhawks and the Red Wings.
Unbelievable.
The Red Wings team was pretty good at the time. Actually, it's funny, but as good as the Red Wings were, the Blackhawks were probably better at that time.
Yeah, I would imagine they would have been.
Well, they had Chelio, Suter, Joe Murphy, Roenick,
Belfour, Hasek, right?
Belfour and that, yeah. Actually, Hasek was in the minors. I played against him my rookie year in the minors. He was
because that's right. He
Indianapolis.
A lot of people don't remember he was a backup to Belfour, which is pretty wild, right?
Yeah, it's you know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. The first time I saw him play in the minors, I was sitting there going, "What the hell is this guy doing out here?" And realistically, awesome. Like he was sitting there, and we ended up. I think we ended up beating them 5 or 6-2 that game in Indianapolis. And there was a couple of plays like he's charging out at guys at the top of the circle, and I'm going, "What is this guy doing?"
I've seen that.
Like it was just unbelievable watching him. And then like 2 years later, he's winning Vezinas like it was going out of style.
Oh, crazy!
He was unbelievable.
Absolutely. No, this is so cool for me, Mike. Sorry, Adam. I feel like I'm a kid in a candy store, just like, yeah, feed me more, buddy, feed me more. You know. But no, that's the coolest, obviously, because I imagine you had the chance to play against some real like future Hall of Famers, obviously. Coming up even just in Dallas with like the Medanos and so on and so forth. The cool thing that I noticed as well is that you did get a chance to represent Team Canada as well. What was that experience like for you?
You know what? It's it's one of those things. There's no better feeling than putting on that jersey and going out there and playing for your country, right? And getting the opportunity to do that at the junior level and then at the pro level with the Olympic team was very, very cool. You know what? some of the people you meet and the people that go through it with you. It was a lot of fun. You know what? I spent a couple months out in Calgary playing for the national team at that time, and it was just after the Olympic year. And excuse me. So they had just Dave King had just taken a job with Calgary, so they brought in a young hotshot coach. Tom Rennie was the coach.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
So he was our coach out there.
Wow, cool.
Excuse me. But he was there, Perry Pern, and you know, we absolutely we had a lot of fun. You know, a lot of guys that you probably haven't heard of many of them, but we had guys out there. Adrian Aucoin was out there with us.
I remember a lot of names. Yeah.
Yeah. So there it was one of those experiences that was it was pretty cool being out there for a little while.
No doubt. Nate, I want to bring you back into the conversation. I don't want to feel like I'm going one side or the other on this one. I don't want you to feel out in the cold. What does it mean to you to know about your dad's success? I mean, I'm not sure how much you were present for necessarily, but like, how cool is it knowing what he did, knowing the experiences he had? Like, what is that for you? Like, what does that mean for you?
It's pretty cool. Like, obviously, right? Like, not a lot of people can say that their dad was in a lot of the situations that he was in, right? So I think that itself is pretty cool. But from a goaltending perspective, it's nice because you get a lot of feedback on, you know, gameplay itself and, you know, what to expect moving up in levels, especially when I was going into junior, like just kind of, you know, getting ideas and figuring out what to expect and, you know, what to look forward to and what to, you know, just everything like that. So I think that was, for me, was probably one of the more interesting parts, was just, you know, figuring out what I need to know and kind of just getting tips and stuff that, you know, I could get from other people, but it's not the same, right? Because my dad's been able to experience, you know, all that at a really high level, right? So that itself is pretty cool, I think. So.
And in terms of your own hockey path and your hockey career, I mean, you've had to have had some moments that have stuck out to you that have been particularly fond memories. So, is there any one that sticks out above the rest?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, you know, for me, when I got to play for the Rangers actually a couple years ago, so I got to play a couple games in Kitchener, which is pretty cool because obviously my dad was there for.
Right, exactly. I was going to ask you guys about that.
Yeah, so I think that itself was pretty cool. Obviously, at the time, you know, we didn't win the games I got to play, but for me, it was, you know, looking back on it now, they had a successful year regardless, and that experience to be able to even, you know, play in the same rink he used to play in, right, and play in front of the fans that probably some of them used to watch him, right? So I think that itself was really cool. That's probably one that sticks out the most, right? You know, for me, I think, no doubt in my mind, it's, you know, being able to put on the jersey that I was a childhood fan of growing up, was going to Ranger games and watching Ranger games. That was kind of something I always did. So being able to even play just a couple games and dress for a little bit with them was unreal. It was one of the best experiences for sure in junior.
And then, let's talk about that, because the Memorial Auditorium is one of the most iconic rinks, I think, in all of Ontario. We can all agree on that one.
Yeah.
Let's go with Nate first. What was it like for you to play in the Aud? Like, what was that like for you?
Really cool. I played there once when I was younger as a kid, but not in front of, you know, 8,000 fans or whatever it is. Like, not even close to the same, right? And especially when you're playing against London. Big rivalry, right? So, it truly is crazy, and it's really cool. And I know the one thing that I remember a lot was when when they were doing the starting lineup introductions and when they announced my name, how surprisingly loud it was, to be honest, just because everyone recognized the name, right? So for me, that was one of the cooler memories that I had playing in that rink and in front of the fans. And for me too, right, being from just outside of Kitchener, like, it's pretty cool to be able to play there because all of my friends, you know, would go to the games. So everyone, basically every single one of my friends is watching or was in attendance, right? So for me, that was probably one of the cooler moments.
Right on. And then Mike, we'll go to you. I mean, obviously, you know, it's been a little stretch of a time since you played there last, but what are some of your fond memories of playing in the Aud, and maybe, you know, some that stick out particularly for, you know, the right reasons?
My memories of playing were, we had some good teams, we had some bad teams when I was here. My first year was pretty memorable because I was a 16-year-old kid moving here from Toronto, and you get to experience the way it is. But obviously, the odds changed a lot since then. They've done a ton of renovations, they've upgraded and everything else. So, in a sense, it's kind of a different building. And for me, for the new odd, probably getting to watch my son play there was probably the coolest experience for me, more than anything. But for me, that one sits atop of all of them. And then after that, I would probably put our Memorial Cup run after that, and the whole experience there, the getting to the Memorial Cup, having to face the adversity we did. Probably the most memorable was in the semifinals that year, the game we clinched to go to the Memorial Cup. We had a bomb threat called into the odd from one of the Niagara Falls fans. So we were up 6-2 with about 7 minutes left in the game, and we all had to get our gear off and go sit out in the parking lot, and all the fans are outside, and we walk out and they're offering us their cars to keep us warm and everything else. It was quite funny actually at the time, but I think that was one of the memorable things for me. And that whole squad we had was just unbelievable. Some of the guys who I played with over the years that really made it more memorable, being a part of the Rangers. Being part of the Rangers is not always just about the building; it's about the people that are involved. And so one thing I always found is, no matter how long it's been since you've talked, there's always that familiarity and that ability to go back in time and discuss the glory years, as we like to call them.
Right. Yeah, no, I can understand that 100%. We're speaking with Mike Torchia, former NHL goaltender, and Nathan Torchia, starting goaltender for the Stratford Fighting Irish, here on the Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast. Mike, when it comes to different experiences that you've had, I mean, what is it about this game that keeps you coming back? Obviously, there's an itch. I know all about the itch. I mean, you have it. It's just something that you get embedded with, and it just never really leaves you. But what is it for you that you would just enjoy so much about this game?
There's nothing I don't enjoy about this game. Just being around it. I get the ability not only I love watching my boys play. I have two boys, and unfortunately for my wife, they're both goalies as well. So
not an inexpensive position.
No, and it's sometimes it's really hard for my wife because it's kind of heartbreaking to watch your kid go out there and get beat up or lose or whatever and feel down about it. And being the hockey mom, but being the goalie mom, there's a reason a lot of goalie moms like their wine. It's
awesome.
There's definitely a reason behind that. It's tough on the parents and to watch your kid be a goalie and do that. But for me, staying a part of the game, I love it. I still teach a lot. I run goalie clinics and help out with some teams. I coach a U14 team, and I'm the assistant coach of the U14 team in Waterloo. I'm the goalie coach with the U16 team in Waterloo, the AAA team. So I get to work with a lot of good people, and you get to see kids develop, and and you get to pass on that love of the game. For me, that's the biggest thing. This game's been good to me, and I'd like to pass that on to the kids coming up, and make it fun for them, but make it and truly appreciate what they're getting the opportunity to experience here.
That's a great answer, Mike. I really appreciate that a lot. Nate, before I ask you that same question, just in terms of this process, obviously there was a process to go to get you into the Stratford lineups. Can you take us through that process and how that kind of all came about?
Yeah, so for me, right, it kind of came down to just wanting to get back into it and kind of just wanting to stay around the game, right? For me, in the summer, I kind of took a little bit of time off considering, I was out east the year before, so I was pretty busy with hockey. A lot of people were not as fortunate as I was to be playing around Ontario, right? With everything being shut down.
Sure.
So for me, it was kind of nice because I got to keep playing when I went out east. So I did take a lot of time to myself in the summer to kind of just figure out where I wanted to go, right? I was done junior hockey, so I really didn't know what I was going to do. And I really wanted to, at the time, was just focus on school. And that's still a big focus for me, obviously. So I just wanted to get enrolled in school, get that stuff started to get figured out, get in the right direction. And then, Jamie ended up just giving me a call one day, and he said, "Hey, we're looking for a guy." And I said, "All right." Like, I didn't really know anything about it. And, sure enough, he gave me a call, and he just kind of gave me the details, kind of gave me the rundown on what everything's about, what it's like, the schedule, etc., all that kind of stuff. Right. And I said, "You know what, like, let's do it." Like, it's been a while since I've been on the ice. It's been a while since I've been able to really skate. So I was like, you know what, like, kind of the same thing with my dad, right? Like he was saying, he likes to be around the game. It's something that for me, it's like at first, I was like, you know what, a little time off doesn't hurt. But for me, I love it too much to not play. You know what I mean? So
of course,
it was really a no-brainer when he asked me to come back and play. And I said, absolutely, no doubt. Like, not for a second did I even hesitate, right? I was like, I get a chance to play and I get a chance to be back on the ice, something I haven't done in quite a few months. So I was like, let's do it.
Absolutely. And again, so let's take that one step further and go back to the original question that I asked Mike. Like, what is it about this game that you just enjoy so much and that brings you so much pride and keeps you coming back for
more? For me, it's just being able to play and compete. That's something that I really take pride in, is just working hard every time I'm on the ice. And I know it sounds kind of cliche or whatever, but it's true. Like, that's something I really love to do, is just compete. And I'm a competitive person on the ice, but obviously I want to have fun too. So that's something that, I really take pride in. And it's something that I really enjoy doing, is just going out on the ice every day and just, giving my best efforts and having fun doing it, because, you're only going to do it for so long, right? It's not something that lasts forever. So it's something that I try to cherish when I can, right? I'm still young, so I want to be able to do it for as long as I can. So
I like how he said that, Mike? I'm still young, rub it in for us old parts.
You know what? He's 100% right. But I was thinking about what he's saying, and it's so true. Like, you just want to stay around the game. But, another big thing for me is passing on those same lessons. And everyone thinks hockey's about hockey, but it's not. It's about those life lessons you learn about being part of a team, about being a good person, about being respectful, and everything else that you learn that are still life lessons that I carry with me every day in my work world, in my personal life, in my family life. And those are things that, I learned at home and through hockey. And, and those are things that people sometimes lose sight of, but that's truly what's important in this game. It's the lessons you learn and being able to pass them on and pass them down the line.
What's the biggest lesson or a piece of advice you'd give for Nathan the rest of the way here as we play on in the first inaugural Western Ontario Super Hockey League season?
He doesn't need my advice. He's pretty good. I've watched him play long enough. I've watched him play, and I see what he can do. And I just tell him to go out there and enjoy himself, have fun. If I pick up on anything like I did Friday, we talked about, slowing the game down and taking more whistles, not trying to force things. That's what we talked about Friday after the game. And it sounds like he did a really nice job of that on Saturday.
He did.
So it's, it's nice to know that sometimes Dad's advice still works and he still listens. So it's not in all aspects, eh?
The listening, that's the key, right? And Nate, obviously, again for you, I mean, what is your expectation the rest of the way throughout the rest of this first season?
For us, just I think as a team, just keep growing. It's something that, like I said before, we're still really young, so I think that's something that we have to kind of, take in stride and start to figure out a little bit. I think these last game was a really good stepping stone, like I said before. So I expect us to keep growing and developing. I have no idea what, our record's going to finish out to be. I don't really have a certain expectation, I guess you could say, about what number I hope to achieve, but I do hope to, continuously, grow throughout the year and just make progress. And I think that's the biggest thing for a young team is just, develop and grow and keep moving forward and not take any steps back, right? Keep moving forward. So I think that's the big thing for our team.
That's fantastic. Well said, Nathan. You could see Nathan Torchia and the Stratford Fighting Irish next on the ice in Tillsonburg this upcoming Sunday for the Tillsonburg Thunder home opener. We've been speaking with Mike Torchia, former NHL goaltender, and his son, Nathan Torchia, starting goaltender for the Stratford Fighting Irish. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on here to do this podcast. I can't thank you enough, and we'll definitely chat down the line. Thanks so much.
Hey, no problem, Andrew. Anytime.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, guys, that about does it here on this for the time that we have on this edition of the Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast. Want to thank once again Mike and Nathan Torchia for coming on to the podcast and talking with us. It was an absolute pleasure to speak with them, and we hope to have them on once again down the road. I want to thank you guys for watching once again, because without you, this doesn't happen. We appreciate your viewership, and we appreciate your continued support. The Western Ontario Super Hockey League presented by Sleeman. I am your host, Andrew Rogers, for the Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast, episode number 26. Saying so long, and until next time, we'll see you then. Be safe out there. We're in the winter now. It's getting crazy out there weather-wise. It's getting cold. Make sure to bundle up, and obviously remain COVID safe. Get your shots if you don't have them, and be double vaccinated. Come on out and watch some Western Ontario Super Hockey action. We'll see you guys next time.